Welcome, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. Okay. Thank you for attending this annual meeting. My name is Kevin, and I'm board chair. And a quorum is present. The meeting is hereby called to order. So I'm going to begin with some introductions. But before I do that, I want to thank you all. Thank you. I'll begin with some introductions, and I'll start with the far left here. Secretary Justin Green. And we have our board secretary, our chair of the supervisory committee, Larry Kraft, board member, Brock Clark. On the right side here is our CEO, Mike Clark. I think I know that. Nancy Haynes, first vice chair on the board. Reese Gately, who is our treasurer. Who is our second vice chair, is on the board. Mary Holman, our secretary on the board. Let's see, you got Taz, Jasmine Rao is on the board. And Roger Salter is our emeritus board member. Thank you all for coming. Before I go further, I'm going to throw the people off that are doing the teleprompter, because I'm going to go off teleprompter in just a second. What I'd like to do is to ask anyone who's a first responder or a military member or retired military to please stand. You have to ask them. And I was remiss, I should have asked the teachers. So could I see some teachers standing up also? Thank you all for everything you do. So the agenda for our meeting tonight is a standard format for credit union annual meetings, as set forth in regulations and bylaws, and is displayed on the screen. First of all, we'll talk about the minutes. The first item of business is the reading of the minutes from last year's annual meeting held May 7th, 2025. The minutes of that meeting were approved by the board of directors at its regular meeting, and therefore do not have to be approved at this meeting. So I'm going to entertain a motion to dispense the reading of the minutes. May I have a motion? Thank you, sir. And your name? Agreed. Thank you, sir. And could I have a second, please? And your name, please? Edward. Thank you, Edward. So there's been a motion and a second to dispense with the reading of the minutes, although they're probably really exciting. But those in favor of the motions, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, you can say no. One wants to hear the meeting. It's probably a good thing. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a message from me, the chair. And I want to say good evening to board members, distinguished guests, and most of all, valued credit union members, those of you in the audience. Welcome to U.S. Eagle's 90th annual meeting. 90 years, that's not just a number. It's 9 decades of members choosing to trust this credit union with their financial lives, and this organization working to be worthy of that trust. I'd like to highlight the people who make us what we are: our members, our volunteers, our employees, and our leadership. I don't take that lightly, and I know none of you do either. However, before we look ahead, I want to take a moment to honor someone whose service has shaped U.S. Eagle for almost half of those 90 years, over 40 years. Marcia Majors led this credit union. Is Marcia here tonight? By any chance? Yeah. Marcia Majors led this credit union with integrity, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to the people we serve for 40 plus years. She built systems, she built culture, and most importantly, she built trust. The foundation we stand on tonight is a large part of her work, and we are deeply grateful for her extraordinary legacy. Thank you, Marcia. So this year, marking a very meaningful transition in leadership as we welcome Michael Laura as our president and CEO. Speaking for the board, we have full confidence in his vision, his steady approach, his deep commitment to serving our members, and his transparency with the board. Michael has been a trusted voice inside this organization for years as chief financial officer, and that background matters. He understands this credit union from the inside out, its numbers, its people, and its mission. I'll let him speak to the details of 2025 in a moment, because frankly, there's no one better suited to walk you through them tonight. What I want to say from the board's perspective is this. 2025 was a hard year, a very hard year, due to a relatively small number of legacy commercial loans that had a negative impact on our year-end financial results. We knew it as it unfolded. The board remained engaged, was engaged, and is still engaged. We asked hard questions. We supported management in making tough, responsible decisions. That's what governance is supposed to look like. We did not look away from the problem, and we did not kick it down the road. I can tell you tonight that U.S. Eagle's financial position is stable. Our capital is strong, and your deposits are safe. We enter 2026 with a cleaner balance sheet and a clearer path forward than we had 12 months ago. Our challenges didn't diminish. That's a lot of D's. Our sense of purpose. Our team continued to show up for members every single day. Our members remain at the center of everything that we do. And that commitment was evident throughout the year. We continued investing in technology and enhancing tools that support financial well-being. Our employees and volunteers demonstrated the cooperative spirit that defines this organization. And our community partnerships through the Arnia Foundation continue to make a real difference in the lives of people and communities that we serve. That work never stopped, and I swear to you that work will never stop. Looking forward, the board is confident in the road ahead. We have strong governance, aligned leadership, and a membership that believes in the power of cooperation. We faced challenges before in our 90 years. Remember 2008? That was the challenge. And each time we've come through stronger because we stayed grounded in our values and committed to our members' financial well-being. So I want to thank you for your trust, your engagement, and most importantly, for your presence here tonight. It's now my privilege to introduce our President and CEO, Chief Executive Officer, Michael Moore, who will share more about our financial performance, our progress, and the future direction of U.S. Eagle. Right?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? 90 years of service is an extraordinary milestone. Since 1935, U.S. Eagle has stood for something simple and powerful. That's people helping people. Tonight, we honor that legacy and we look ahead to the future that we're building together. 90 years of people helping people. And I've been with this credit union long enough to know that that phrase is more than just a tagline. It's a decision that gets made every single day, at every teller window, in every loan transaction, conversation, or interaction with our service team. I am honored to lead this organization, and I want to start tonight by being straightforward with you, because that's what 90 years of trust means. As Kevin said, 2025 is a difficult year for us financially, and you deserve a clear explanation on why. I'll start with some context. Since 2020, credit unions and banks across the country have faced one of the most challenging rate environments in decades. And during this time, the Federal Reserve raised rates aggressively to fight inflation, which was the right call for the economy, because that put stress on the financial system. When rates rise that quickly and high inflation erodes purchasing power, borrowers who took debt at lower rates can struggle to refinance that debt when the time comes to renew. Businesses that penciled in at 3% are very different, 7 and 8% rates. And that backdrop matters for understanding what happened here. For about 5 years, between 2018 and 2023, USCO originated a portfolio of commercial loans through a partnership with USDA and SBA, Small Business Association, U.S. Department of Government. These were loans to businesses throughout the United States, not to our members in Mexico. And as interest rates climbed and economic conditions tightened, a portion of these loans deteriorated. Businesses behind them ran into trouble, and the underlying collateral in some cases was not enough to cover what was owed. As your CFO for 12 years prior to taking on this role, I watched the performance of our loan portfolios carefully. And when it became clear that these losses were real and recognized, we addressed the issue head on. That meant writing down the value of these loans, recognizing the losses on our books, building up our reserves being the financial cushion and creating the tab to absorb exactly the same losses. These were easy decisions, and they directly impacted our results. So as a result of this activity, for 2025, we're reporting a net loss of $30 million. I want to be clear about what that means and what that does not mean. It does not mean that USCO is in trouble. Even after absorbing these losses, our net worth ratio stands at 8.53%, well above the 7% threshold set by NCUA to be well capitalized. And by that measure, which is the measure that matters most in this case, we're sound. Our deposits are safe, our operations are fully funded, and we're not in a position where we're scrambling. We're in a position where we made a hard choice proactively, and we're better for it. And I also want to be very direct about this. We're not doing those types of loans anymore. That chapter's closed. The losses are painful, but in an important way, they clarified our focus. We know who we are. We're a credit union built to serve our members, not to chase yield in complex, exotic loans. Far from our core lines of business. So with that in mind, here's what we're focused on in 26. Our primary goal is to resolve the remaining issues. We have paused our business lending program while we work through this process. Although this is not an immediate situation, pausing is the right thing to do to avoid adding additional risk to the portfolio while we work out these issues. So we can devote our resources to where they're needed most. I don't have a timeline for when we'll resume business lending, but I can assure you we're working on it diligently. And we'll resume as soon as we can. And we're 100% focused on resolving the issue to return to lending when it's feasible. Now, it's important to remember that business lending is only one aspect of what USCO does, our products and services. We remain open for business and ready to serve you as we normally have. Whether you're in the market for a new auto, a new home, new advice on investments, we're here for you as we always have been. So we're also using this opportunity this year to return to basics. We want to improve your overall member experience when you interact with us. That means faster processes, better digital tools, and service that meets you where you are. We're investing where it clearly benefits members. And we're building the kind of internal discipline and risk management that means that we won't find ourselves in this position. Our commitment to community has not wavered during this process in 2025. Throughout the year, the USCO and the Army Foundation invested $200,000 in our communities, while 2,677 volunteer hours. For enriched ed classroom grants, put $20,000 directly into the teachers' hands to bring financial literacy to our classrooms. And we reached over 1,600 New Mexicans through our financial wellness programs, offering guidance, resources, and support throughout the state. That's who we are. That will not change. And none of this happens without our influence. Our member satisfaction for the year was 96%, which, given everything we navigated the last year, is a testament to people who show up every day. Everything's great. Deeply grateful for that. I stepped into the CEO role with open eyes. I know this organization's strengths, and I know where we have work to do. What I can promise you is this: I will tell you the truth. I will make decisions that protect this credit union every day for the long term. And I will never lose sight of people this institution exists to serve. 90 years strong, thank you for being part of it.
Thank you, Mike. Now we're going to get a report, the treasurer and consolidated comparative statements of income. So next on the agenda is the report of the treasurer. 2025 consolidated statements of loss shows a net loss income of, as Mike said, 30.4 million. The consolidated balance sheets and the consolidated statements of loss are included in the annual report that you will have. You can also view the annual report on our website, useagle.org. For comments about US Eagle's financial performance in 2025, I'm going to defer to Reese Gately, our treasurer. Reese, what would you like to add?
First thing, you need to change that. I'd like to say, I've still out of mind. That's what we said. There's been a great deal of talk about the financial. Kevin's disclosed a loss of 30 million. I did a great job of telling you where the loss is. It's not in our core operations. Our credit union is a study in contrast. What we do well, do well. They have services, the branches, the people in which all of you interact. Still there. Still do car loans, still do home loans, we refinance, we do unsecured loans to members. Government layoffs came around, we're there. We do all this. So our core operations are stable. They provide a return back to all of us. It is that one portion USDA, SBA loans that continue to cause the problem. In 2024, a year ago almost now, we said we had no stones left untouched approach. Exactly what we did. We found out where the weaknesses are. We continue to look for more weaknesses. If you don't know a problem, you can't solve it. Kick the can down the road, you can't stop it. So the management team with Mike and his team done an incredible job, particularly in the last 4 months, to determine where our challenges lie. We anticipate challenges in 2026. That's okay. We know the challenges we deal with. But here's one thing that we're not changing. We are not changing the commitment to our core business. It's just not happening. You can see it every day when you're there. You see it when you call member service. You see it when you're in the website. You see it when you walk into a branch. You see it when the emails are all sent out. They get answers. The questions get answered. We miss it, we'll fix it. That's the most important commitment that we as a financial organization can give you. Believe me, I watch these numbers. I am a volunteer. I watch these numbers. Exceedingly fortunate that we have a very, very good CFO that has stepped in to Mike's position, Holly McKay. She's doing an amazing job already, 4 months into it. Items that we talked about, my ideas I've thought about, and comes here, she says, I'm already on it. I tell you all of this from the standpoint, you said this is an interactive mission between our management, the board, feedback from you. We're open, we're glad to hear. This is an interactive mission where we go through to solve these issues and to move forward. That's our mission, where we want to be. We're continuing to address the problems. We look at it in board meetings, we look at it at other meetings, whether it's in asset liability, or it's in our finance, we continue to look at this. We're getting the information. We said that we would engage the people necessary to help us with the journey, because folks, we don't have all the answers. But we know people that can assist us in learning these answers and learning the problems, whether it's NCUA, our federal examiners, whether it's our external auditors with Baker Tilly, whether it's our internal audit, which, by the way, we have an amazing supervisory committee. That is our audit. They are absolutely amazing. We have a fine internal audit staff. They work together soundly. And we don't, information is shared with them. We all work together on this. We've employed third-party consultants, experts that can help us identify our problems and where we need to look. They've done an amazing job today. We're going to continue to address it. We're going to continue to address our problems, but I think it's more important that we continue to address the successes. You learn from success, you learn from not so real success, and we're capitalizing on all of them. There are a lot of things that we can say about our credit. But there's one thing that we have to walk out of here tonight with, that our credit union focus and our credit union desire, and our credit union dedication has simply not changed. We're all in this together. We're working very hard, diligently to work through our challenges while we build on our success. I want to make sure that I say my heartfelt thanks to you, the members. Please ask questions. My equal thanks to the finance committee, Alan and your team. My thanks, Mike and your team. And my fellow board members, I tell you, yourself, thank you for being with us tonight. And as we go through this journey, questions we're happy to answer. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. He speaks off the teleprompter so often, and I just stop the teleprompter. All off the cuff. At any rate, the next item on the agenda is an report from our supervisor, Lori Kraft, is the chair of our supervisory committee. The supervisory committee has worked hard on here, taking your credit. As we said, the supervisory committee is a committee that's required by National Credit Union Association, NCUA, regulations. And you can think of it as an internal audit committee. So they perform audits and they oversee audits of every facet of the credit union. And they are always doing audits and making sure that everything is working properly for our credit union. That report is in the annual, the report from the chair, Lori Kraft, is in the annual report. You can see it. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business. A review of the minutes of last year's annual meeting shows no unfinished business. So we go on to new business. So, other than the results of the election, there being no other new business, we'll move directly to the results of the election. And that's the election of directors. So, this item, the agenda is the election of directors. And to do that, I'd like to call Tasman Ruff, who served as the chair of the nominating committee, to the podium to announce the results of the election for the board of directors. Taz?
This year, there were 2 vacancies on the board, and the nominating committee submitted 2 nominees to fill these vacancies. As directed by the bylaws, other candidates may be nominated by petition of the membership. However, the board did not receive any petitions for nomination from the membership. Also, per the bylaws, there will be no nominations from the floor. The 2 nominees submitted by the nominating committee are Kevin McMahon and Nancy Haynes. And since there is only one nominee for each vacancy, I will entertain a motion to elect the 2 board candidates by acclamation. Is there a motion to nominate the 2 candidates?
So moved.
Thank you. Name, please.
My name,
Yeah.
Blackie. Black.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of this motion, say aye, please. Aye. Do I need a second? Okay, I need a second for that motion, sorry. So it'll have to be somebody other than the one that was first. Okay, thank you. Ed. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so now, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Please join me in congratulating our re-elected director. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to Kevin.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite our second vice chair to the board of directors and chair of the volunteer development committee, Pamela, turn it to the stage. Pamela.
So good evening, everyone. At US Eagle, we're very passionate about volunteerism and about developing the next generation of leaders in our community. We believe in the slogan of growing our own. And one of the ways that we live out the credit union's philosophy of people helping people is through the Junior Board of Directors, or JBOD as they're often called. This program allows for young members of our credit union to serve and to learn and to lead in meaningful ways. And if you didn't know it, I want you to know that US Eagle Federal Credit Union is the only federal credit union in the entire United States that has a junior board of directors. Our JBOD do more than just learn. I want you to know that they take action every year. They choose a community cause that they want to project, and that's very meaningful to them. And they lead a donation drive, and then they support it. And this year, they are conducting a donation drive by benefiting Joy Junction. That's an organization that's providing critical support to individuals and families in need in our community. In the past, they have led successful efforts benefiting organizations like the Rio Grande Food Project, because they recognize that food is an essential part of every one of our communities. JBOD also provides opportunities to build communication and presentation and networking skills while working alongside seasoned board members like everyone you see up here. And participants may even earn letters of recommendation for their school or for employment. So if you have a child or grandchild who's in school right now, and they're at least age 16 years old, tell them to get involved with the Junior Board of Directors. And at this time, I would like to recognize our Junior Board of Directors who are here with us this evening. I do want you to know that this is a time for final examinations, so we may not have them on because they are very steadfast about doing well on their tests. Are there any Junior Board of Directors members with us here tonight? Come forward. We want to welcome you. community and as they continue to serve in U.S. Legal Federal Credit. You all are wonderful and we greatly appreciate you. To talk with us more at the volunteer table tonight. We'll be over there to answer more questions about the junior board and how each one of you can get involved, even if you're not on the junior board of directors. And it is so great to see you all here tonight. And thank you.
Thank you, everyone. At this time, I'd like to invite our first vice chair of the board of directors, Nancy Haynes, to the stage for the next item on our agenda. Nancy.
Feel like I just got up from the floor. Are these seats comfortable for you, Chuck? Good evening, dear members. Welcome. We are proud of the many exceptional individuals who generously volunteer their time to support the credit union. Their dedication helps ensure that U.S. Eagle remains focused on developing and implementing policies that serve the best interest of our members, while also strengthening the communities we all call home. Our volunteers embody the credit union mission of people helping people and bring to life U.S. Eagle brand promise that people mean more. Tonight, we honor someone whose dedication to service has shaped our credit union community for more than 3 decades. She has been a member for 32 years and began volunteering with us since 2002. Over the years, she has taken on some of the most important leadership roles, serving as second vice chair of the board, chair of the volunteer development committee, former board chair, and a valued member of the supervisory committee. Her steady guidance and commitment have strengthened our mission and enriched the experience of our members. But her impact extends far beyond our credit union. This year's honoree is a deeply engaged public servant currently serving in the New Mexico House of Representatives for District 28. Since 2021, she has taken on key committee leadership roles and worked tirelessly on behalf of her community. At the same time, she leads the KWH Law Center for Social Justice and Change as president and CEO, advocating for access to justice for low and moderate income individuals. With a law degree from the University of Texas and credentials as a CPA, she brings both expertise and heart to every endeavor. Her volunteerism is not just extensive, it is extraordinary. For more than 20 years, she has shared her voice and KUNM through programs such as Train to Glory, Women's Focus, and This American Life. Her civic and civil rights leadership includes serving as first vice president of the NAACP Albuquerque branch, secretary of the Democratic Party of New Mexico, and president of the New Mexico Black Caucus. Within the legal profession, she contributes nationally to the American Bar Association's Civil Rights and Social Justice, including work on domestic violence and sexual assault commission, and co-chairing the African American Affairs Committee. Oh wait, there's more. Her service continues across numerous nonprofit and community boards, from the American Association of University Women to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Merged New Mexico, the African American Performing Arts Center Foundation, the Continental Health Foundation, and of course, our own U.S. Legal Federal Credit Union. This is the woman who leads with purpose, serves with compassion, and lifts every community she touches. Her record of service is not just impressive, it is inspiring. It is my honor to announce that our 2026 Volunteer of the Year is
Say quickly, thank you, to all the members of the board, for this amazing honor. It is with great passion that I tell you I've been volunteering for a long time, because I recognize that there are people who often don't have a voice, and they need someone to help speak up for them. And to be able to provide hope and compassion and resilience to people has been something that I've long been fighting for. And I know that there are many people here who volunteer. And I want to just tell you that please continue with the volunteerism, because every single act of kindness that you provide really does help to grow our community and help people in our community. So thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. But when do you have a chance to go to sleep? I just can't. So next on the agenda, questions from members. During the registration process for this meeting, members were asked to submit questions to our board and executive team. We would like to provide you with those answers now, so please join me in welcoming Michael Moore back to the podium and answer some of those questions, right?
Thank you for all the questions that you submitted. We've received quite a few. I'm going to actually go through each one of them and read the question and provide an answer. There's quite a few of them, so I've got some notes here. But then after this, we'll open it up for questions from the floor too. So, the first question is, how do you see the future financial health of the U.S. Eagle Federal Credit Union across the nation? See it as great, but I spoke earlier, we're very well capitalized. We remain operationally profitable and continue to support communities throughout the state. Second question, if hypothetically there was a run for cash, would you be able to pay in full or deny people their money? Absolutely pay in full. We have ample liquidity to meet cash requirements for members daily or whatever you need. We have plenty of cash. Liquidity is good. In addition, we're also insured by National Credit Union Administration, which is similar to the FDIC for banks, and we share the same insurance levels there. So liquidity is good, insurance is in place. We're safe. Question 3, who owns you? Which regional or which international banking systems do you answer to? Well, first question is easy. You own us, right? This is a member-owned department, financial department, and currently have over 98,000 members throughout Mexico, throughout the nation. And again, our regulatory body is the National Credit Union Administration. So you own us, see what it regulates us about our member-owned department. Question 4, will you be closing the doors on us in the near future? Absolutely not. U.S. Eagle will not be closing its doors. As I mentioned earlier, we're well capitalized, operationally profitable, and we'll be around. 5, this is a good question. They're all good questions, but this one, how's the morale of your bankers and tellers? And I'll say our team's doing well, right? Like any organization, we have seasons of challenge and change. And we know that a well-supported team is what makes a great group experience. So we measure employee engagement frequently, and we get good feedback on that. Now, I won't say that we're not having a little time of stress right now, due to some of the numbers that we've seen. But we have a very supportive culture, and it's my job to make sure that our staff remain engaged and well supported. So I can mention that, but overall, our team is doing very well. Next question, what kind of benefit packages do your employees enjoy? We have a very generous benefit package, actually. medical, dental, vision insurance, term, long-term, disability insurance, 401k plan, paid time off, tuition reimbursement, and paid volunteer time off, just to name a few of the benefits that we offer. Esther, what are your thoughts on AI, artificial intelligence, and is AI a big part of the future? I think yes. I think AI is fascinating. I think it has the ability, the potential to be transformative if implemented correctly. We're starting to utilize it more within the credit union in targeted, practical ways to improve operational efficiency, enhance member services, strengthen risk management, things like that. I personally have been using Microsoft Copilot quite a bit, which is AI, AI engine, and it's improved my efficiency quite a bit. If you haven't experimented with Copilot or any of these other AI engines, I recommend you do so because it's pretty impressive. But again, for US Eagle, I think it'll naturally play an increasingly important part of our operations. But like I said before, it can be transformative, but only if we implement it responsibly, right? So we're committed to a balanced and responsible approach to implementing AI, ensuring that ensuring that security, transparency, and human oversight play a integral role. Related question, with AI, when will you start firing human beings and replacing them with AI? We have no desire to fire human beings and replacing them with AI. Our goal for any future AI integrations is to enhance employee member relations, not replace them. Right? Question 8, moving on, different topic around commercial lending. What happened to cause the end of commercial lending? When will US Eagle Credit Union offer commercial loans again? And will US Eagle be competitive with other institutions in business lending? I mentioned in my speech that we paused our business lending program temporarily while we went through the issues. It's the best decision for us right now. Instead of adding more risk by continuing to make the loans, it's best just to pause on that. These issues are in a segmented portion of our portfolio, SBA and SBA loans, but they're having an impact, as you can see. So we're working diligently to resolve the issues day and night. The board, supervisory, everybody's working hard on this issue. And once we're successful, we'll resume lending as soon as we can, and you'll be the first to know. And yes, our goal is to be as competitive as ever. Question 9, US Eagle had a plan to have a pilot project focused on creating a student credit union as a within high school. The goal toward having students at that high school set up checking and savings accounts and having students in the school serve as tellers in this pilot school information. This was to be part of our Grow Your Home strategy for US Eagle in Mexico and US Eagle in New Mexico. And what has happened to this plan? So I was around when the plan was implemented. So I recall, I think it was around 7 or 8 years ago, we opened a pilot branch in a local charter school. And I think that ran for about a year and a half. The feedback I received on why the process ended was, I think, the resources required to run a branch in school for the students and the faculty became more demanding than the resources that they actually had. And it was causing more disruption than benefit it was providing. So we opted to end that program at that time. Question 10. Is US Eagle really more interested in helping people, or are they more interested in how much they made for the company? First off, thank you for that really direct question. I like answering questions. Yes, we're genuinely interested in helping people. This is an tagline, people helping people. It's part of our mission. So we're not a bank. Obviously, we don't have shareholders like a bank does to report to. We return every dollar that we make back to the membership in terms of better rates and things of that nature. So does financial performance matter to us though? Yes, it does. We're a business. We have to be in business. You know, we want to be in business for the future forever. And so it matters to us, but really not the same way that it matters to a bank, right? I mentioned we're a financial cooperative. We return the money to the membership, but we need to be financially strong in order to do business. So it matters. Another question, is it possible to have more than one financial person assist with investing in a credit union? The person assigned this task seems overwhelmed. I tried to schedule appointments several times and left voicemails. Apparently haven't been able to connect with them. I think we may have already connected with you directly if you asked this question. we have them, please connect with me or any one of the executives around and text on. We'll make sure to get you in contact with the person that handles that. And also we'll look into understanding why maybe you're having that. That's better. Another question around branch, some branch that we why are you longer offering free faxing for customers? Two reasons really, fax technology is becoming obsolete, and the cost to maintain the lines and those sorts of things just cost prohibitive for giving the faxing we're doing. And second, there's some security concerns with what we were doing before, having faxing ability available for anyone to come in and fax. There were instances of maybe a account was getting sent to the wrong fax number, things like that. So we decided to just stop offering it. Another question here. If a young person wanted to become a member to a Siegel compared to other competitive credit unions in Albuquerque, why should young people partner with you for finances? What benefits does a Siegel bring to the table that others can't? That is a fantastic question. It's very important that we bring in younger members, right, to maintain the credit to the future. And young people today are more financially aware and more values driven. Really more skeptical of institutions, I think, than prior generations. And personally, I think that skepticism is healthy. It drives us to be better. And so I believe US Eagle is a solid choice for young people because we have financial wellness, and that's not really a product we sell. It's in our mission. Financial wellness is part of our mission. We offer free financial education tools, financial wellness coaching, financial wellness workshops, various products that we think provide relative benefits to younger members. We also, which I think is key, support local organizations that serve our communities, which we know is very important to younger members who are choosing that financial institution. So we welcome any young person to come in and talk with us, see what we're all about, see if it feels right. Moving on, I have a couple questions about interest rates. So talk about that. When are interest rates coming down for mortgages and loans? And when are they going to increase for savings and investments? Rates are always well, mortgage rates are, really driven by the market. Come down slightly following the Fed's moves. Not necessarily recently, but earlier this year and later last year, they come down. But I really don't see any additional mortgage rate changes happening in the market, at least until the Fed makes it more good. That doesn't mean we're not offering competitive rates or can't put something with you if you're in for a mortgage. Please go see us and we can get with you. Auto rates are a bit more fluid. We have more control. We adjust those based on market conditions, as well as loan demand from our membership and growth goals with credit union, things of that nature. And again, we currently have very competitive auto rates compared to other local credit unions in our market. So CD rates, on the other side of the balance sheet, are similar. Again, we adjust our rates for CDs based on market conditions, based on growth goals for the credit union. As rates came down recently last year and beginning of this year, we actually did decrease our CD rates. Kept them steady while I was in the market kept down. So it's really a matter of strategy of what we're trying to do there, but the market dictates. You look at loans, right? When you look at CD rates and deposit rates, every we give regularly, and we adjust when the rates appropriate. Related question: what will US Eagle do to improve savings and CD interest rates? For example, US Eagle's 12-month CD rate today is 3.15 APY, while Marcus by Goldman Sachs and Synchrony Bank are at 4%. Their savings account rates are better too. I'd like to bring my CDs back to US Eagle, but can't until the rates are improved. I believe this question was asked at last year's meeting. You're correct, that question was asked at last year's meeting. Thank you for asking. You're right that some national banks and online institutions are able to offer better rates than we are. It's difficult to compete with those rates. We should always strive to offer the highest rate that we can for you in your deposit products while staying true to our not-for-profit organization structure. Two more, then we'll open it up to a branch question. Will you ever get a Gallup branch? We'd love to hear that you want us closer to you. We'd love to build a branch everywhere where our members are. But currently, we don't have any plans to open a branch in Gallup. What I can tell you is that decisions to build branches are based on data and member need. Obviously, there's a desire for Gallup, and we'll look at it, and if it makes sense, we'll make that move. But keep in mind, even though we may not have a physical branch in your area, we do have digital banking tools, or ATM network, and call center staff that can help you with everything. And last question was really just a statement, but I'll make that question. It says purchasing a house. So I would imagine someone's interested in help purchasing a house. Or which team would love to meet. So again, please meet with any one of the execs around building after this meeting, or meet with me personally, and we'll get you connected to the right people. And that wraps up the end of the pre-submitted questions. And we will now be accepting questions from the floor. So if you have a question you prefer not to ask publicly, please use the QR code to submit questions, and we'll follow up with you after this meeting. But if you now have questions for your board or your leadership team, please hold up your hand and stand, and one of our staff here will review the microphone.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Winter. I've been a member of the credit union since I was 17 years old, so I know my age doesn't show. It's 35 years I've been a member. I've had several small businesses in Mexico for 20 years. I've enjoyed organized business lending with the credit union relationship over those 20 years. So two questions. Number one is, when interest rates were historically low, even on the commercial side, when they were 3%, everybody probably in this room knew that the only way they could go was up. So the first question, how did you, with 12 years of CFO experience, miss the fact that interest rates were going to rise? That's question number one. Question number two is, because of SBA loans and was there one? USDA, which I thought were sure by the government, apparently did not. Because you made loans throughout the nation. Now me, who grew up in Rio Rancho, has been into the U.S. Eagle branch on Irving for at least 30 years. I can't get a commercial loan. And it's kind of got to explain to the student, because you have bad experience with something else, why is that affecting your lifetime members? They don't want to go to U.S. Bank and Wells Fargo. And you really give you no choice, because if you say, we're not doing commercial loans for 6 months, I have to continue to operate business. So it's not like we're working. I really want to know, like, who made the decision to just stop all commercial lending as a result of some bad assets? I wasn't doing this for something.
Tough questions. Thank you.
Is that fair?
I believe it, and it's nice to meet you.
Yes.
In person. We've corresponded a little bit around this. The first question is around how do we not see that it's really fun. You're right, we maybe should have seen that. It's obvious that rates were going to go up, and nobody really knows. So as a finance person or as a CFO, or really just running the credit, you make the best decision at the time with the information like that. Now, making the loans at that time, at that rate, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going. Many of the loans in the USDA and SBA portfolios that were made at those rates are performing very well. It really had more to do with the borrowers and maybe the industry. That looking back Monday morning, quarterbacking ourselves a little bit, we probably shouldn't have those loans. And so we're dealing with that right now. So that's really all I can say to address your first question about how we do the best that we can at the time. Now we're addressing the issue. Here's a second question. You may have to remind me a little bit more about it.
My mom has never missed a payment, not once in my entire life. I've had several credit union loans and car loans, and I've had tons of loans. I've never missed a payment, so why am I being penalized because of some other bad act? That's my shame.
So the decision to stop business lending was not one. We would love to make loans, especially business loans, to anyone in our community who wants to do it. But in terms of being prudent with your money as members of your credit union, it's the best decision for us right now to stop adding risk to the portfolio until we can work out the problem. The sooner we can work out this problem without adding new volume to or adding new loans, the sooner we can be back to this. But the last thing we want to do is increase the problem, not saying that you're going to come in miss a rate or anything like that, but just the volume of loans that we have. You know, we need to keep that steady for the time being, we'll move through the issue. Not an ideal situation, not something I want to stand up here and tell you, but I promised you early on that I'd be honest with you, transparent, and that's what I am, that's what I will do. So as soon as we're able to resume lending, business lending, you'll be the first to know. Yes, sir.
My name is Arthur Fuldauer. I've been a credit union member for quite a few years. Had home equity loans, currently have my CDs and car loans. I find your transparency both refreshing and reassuring. I usually get up and talk to people like it is, and especially the deal with publicly with consequences of some of the decisions. Also, I just wanted to know that the staff and your branches really hurt one too. The staff hurt. And the staff actually half the reason why I go to the credit unions. So I really want to give it up for the staff because I see the same people, they really know what they're doing, they take their time. And when I have questions about CD and things like that, you let me know what they know and you let me know what they don't know. So thank you for your transparency as well as the quality and really the friendly and professionals of this of the local staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Here, remember, if you don't want to ask your question publicly, you can use the QR code to follow that.
This isn't really a question, it's some suggestions for improving the service. I've been a member for 47 years of the credit union. It's 1979. We have had loans from the credit union. We have had, I had for years all of our money from the credit union. CDs and IRA, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You handle all of our financial stuff. Starting a few years ago, it's like one problem after another, after another. I have a suggestion that whenever you change technologies, like you change your online banking program, for heaven's sake, before you take it out to the public and philosophy on it, really provide very, very good training for all the staff. And you have some of the best staff anywhere. I have never had a complaint with anyone. There was only one incident in 47 years, actually two. Early on, before you had all these computers, one penny error on one of my speakings. The second was a new person who didn't give me back my credit card and was very tired of the day. And I'm not a credit card, my driver's license. And for several days, I was driving with them, I don't understand. That got straightened out, and I do understand the points, but that's just to tell you how great your staff is. When you change technologies, train them. It just drove us crazy because we had, my husband and I have accounts there, in mine, yours, and ours accounts. You had all of our money. You received all of our money from our pensions and stuff. And you just about drove me crazy with that shit. The second problem was with the credit cards, when you change credit card companies. And I understand business decisions have to be made. But every time I call in because I have not gotten my card, you should have it by next week. You should have it by next week. And I was in without any credit card for 3 weeks because you closed off the old ones. My new ones never arrived. I finally said, just keep them. I don't want credit cards with the credit union anymore. I will get it somewhere else. And I did. You no longer have my credit, my personal ones. You still have my husband's. But that's it. again, when a decision is made, somebody needs to follow through on those issues because it drives people away. Another thing that you did at one time was when you offered a higher CD rate for new members. You didn't offer it to members who've been with you for 40 years. And why should I leave all of my money at the credit union when I'm treated like a second-class citizen when it comes to those CD rates? If you want to offer benefits, offer something besides that. But don't mess around with CD rates and giving your newcomers who maybe put $25 in an open account with somebody who has basically all of their money. And I'm not talking small amounts at the limit. So I felt I had to say this, my final comment to this, I hope you can do something about it, because I'm sure I'm not the only one. Your telephone system is a bomb. I had to put in a number before I got to where I belonged, where I needed to be. 11 times. That's insane. I want to be able to hear a person within 2 or 3 numbers. Now, I don't mind putting in my account number, but then why do they ask me for it again? I mean, this is the kind of thing, you need to take a really good look at that and do something about it. Reduce the numbers, get to a human being. I moved my stuff to my bottom stuff, you still have my accounts. They just don't have as much money anymore. When I contact my other credit union, I can get a person the second time. And particularly if somebody has a problem or an issue, you should be able to get somebody 2 or 3.
Sure.
So that's all I have to say. I appreciate your listening to me. I do appreciate the challenges you face, and I'm supportive of you in that way, but you need to think things through more carefully, because I have not felt like I mattered anymore. It felt to me in the past few years like the public was more important than me. The new members were more important than me. So that matters, and it's the same kind of issue to get, but I understand your financial position is really important on that. But you should also consider how important your high number of money members contribute. And I didn't feel that way, so I felt I needed to explain that to you, and please take care of the telephones.
For that feedback, and again, very good candid feedback, which I appreciate. Some of the issues you raised, we're aware of. We'll make improvements to that. But as a longtime member, and you shouldn't have to go through that. So I apologize for that you've had that experience, and just know that we heard you and we'll be working on it. Yes, sir.
So some of the things I've heard are very troubling as being a member for over 30 years. And I agree with the gentleman, with you being CFO, you're the right-hand person that's supposed to advise the CEO, president, and had advised. The other thing that bothers me a little bit is the fact that we see the same exact faces on the board of directors. The only thing that's changed is that Marshall Major's retired. It didn't seem like anything has changed here. If you look at the amount of people that were here last year, it's half of what were here last year. When the nice lady up front talks about being on the telephone, I told the story last year. I had no idea that you guys had a 1,500% increase on your losses this year. But if this is a community credit union, that's $300 per 100,000 members. That's a big deal.
I told a story last year that I left my office and actually drove about 25 minutes to the branch while I was on hold on the phone. Signed into the branch and actually talked to the branch manager, and was still on the phone on hold, sitting, letting the branch manager listen. They asked why they asked, but remember the first time, and again, the second time, it's because you guys have found out everything to Philippines, all of them. There is no human interaction whatsoever with you guys. Another thing that you bring up is the fact that you can't compete with, national companies. You guys can't compete with local companies. I moved 90% of my banking to a competitor here in town. When I call, it's a live person with 3 rings. This is struggling because this is a problem. You can't, loan the gentleman money for his business and you say, oh, we're totally stable, but it doesn't seem like you're totally stable. If you have to say, hey, time out, we're not going to loan money to the community. That's all I have to say.
We can't necessarily speak to the past of prior CEO or prior decisions that were made, but all I can do is look forward and tell you that what you may have experienced in the past will look different in the future. And that's why I'm here. That's my promise to you. Okay, well, thank you very much. Yeah.
Mr. Winter, I don't know your name in passing. Your points are valid. Nobody likes what's going on right now. I'm still, I'm a CPA, I'm still in public practice. I've referred members of my client base for loan services here. We have to take a step back. The decisions that have been made in the past, you said nobody likes them. But it's an important thing to know that not all progress is every step forward. You've seen it in your business. I've seen it in my business, and I'm sure, sir, you've seen it in your business. So you got to take a step back. And it isn't necessarily what you want to do, but it is a prudent thing to do. Do we want business lending back online? Certainly, we'd like it back on this afternoon, but it didn't going to happen. Not till we run through what it is. Will it affect you? Yes, it will. We don't want that. And there was certainly nothing personal to it. Anticipation of rising interest rate, that's not on mine. It's not on the MC to vote. We don't determine the interest rates. The interest rates are determined for us. Would we have loved to have seen that? Absolutely. If all of us could have seen that, we could invest in the stock market, we'd all be wealthy, 40 years low, it's an historic low. It wasn't like, right, you have 40 years of track record to show. Absolutely. You're right. Can't argue with that at all. It's the timing of when it was going to happen. Was it a matter that it's going to go up? Absolutely. When? We don't know. There's certainly argument right now about what to do with interest rates. We sit back and watch. We can't consistently agree on what we're going to do. But what we know is that we're going to work with what we've got. And that's what we're doing. And it is a step back. That step back that nobody wanted. But it's a step back that we think is the best interest for where we are. We don't want to affect anybody individually, but we want to make sure that we're corporately doing the right thing. I am terribly sorry to yourself. So that's affected you.
Can you simply respond since you responded to my initial interaction?
I'm sorry, sir.
Give me a second to respond since you responded to my interaction. When I said that you guys can't compete nationally, you can't compete locally. So you say you can't control the interest rates. I tried to get US Eagle to match an interest rate from your competitor and due to a 35-year member, you guys wouldn't even match the rate of the competitor. So when it comes to interest rates, you guys have problems with, if you can't help the people that have been with you forever and won't even match somebody else, that's not good. You guys need to right the ship, or else next year, there's gonna be 25% of the people that are here today.
The interest rate question that I addressed had nothing to do with the rates for the CD. With the frame of reference. What we talked about was the interest rate. That's what the CD is pricing in the loans.
This was an auto loan, it wasn't a CD.
Whichever.
Okay.
Whichever. specific to your individual situation, I don't know. We'll be glad to find out more about it. We're gonna price our products with what we know. Other people price their products with what they're doing. They sometimes won't match our rates, sometimes they won't match our service. Sometimes we won't match theirs. That's why we're making decisions corporate. We don't make a decision to affect an individual. We want to take care of them. Happy to look at yours further. But it's important to know that what we're doing, even though we've taken some steps back in that particular portfolio, we have not taken steps back in our core business. That's where we remain. That's what we're going to concentrate. We will do our best to take care of everybody. We are going it's going to be some people that we're not going to be able to take care of no matter what. That doesn't mean that you're not important, sir, or you, Mr. Quinn. We get the thing back where we want it to be. I hope that we make a call to you. I hope you make a call to us. Because we're not going anywhere. Thank you for your time.
Well, one comment was made that the same faces appear on the board of directors. You're right. However, every year we send out a request to membership to volunteer. You need to remember that we as board of directors are not paid. This is entirely volunteer. And we would love to see other faces. So absolutely, put some names in for nomination to the board of directors or to the supervisory committee. We welcome that. Now, with that said, I believe we've completed our business section of the meeting. Unless there's any other business, new business to come forward, I would entertain a motion to read the over here, how's that work?
We respond to them after the meeting. And I think the access and so on.
Okay.
We'll respond if you submitted one over there.
Is there any other further business to come before this meeting? Not hearing any. I declare the business portion of the meeting adjourned. Thank you all for attending this year's annual meeting. Our board members will now be stepping away as we wrap up some other official business that's required by the NCUA and annual business. We hope you enjoyed the evening and invite you to stay for food and prizes. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank the marketing and convention center team who were instrumental in producing this annual meeting. Thank you.